To be very honest, I grandmotherly feeling from Sukhavaha Mataji. It was my great fortune to meet Mataji in December 2022, 2.5 years ago, on 12th of December, and that is when I got in touch with Mataji's books. And I will not be exaggerating when I say that जब मैंने पहली बार Prabhupada books को पढ़ा, the first time I read Prabhupada books, I got that kick, intellectual kick. So that same level of intellectual kick I got for the second time when I read Mataji's books. They were eye-opening for me. Those uh, realizations and those truths that Mataji was highlighting in her books were of a different kind, and they were really very yes, mind blowing for me. It really opened many different avenues. Uh, Mataji is a very kind lady by nature, by heart. She is a mother of three and grandmother of three, and so she has lived her life, and therefore whatever she speaks is through realization and a lot of empathy and a lot of care and compassion. I again got the fortune of meeting Mataji in 2023 in February in Mayapur. She was gracious enough to lend us 1 hour, and we discussed about the books and so many different things. And right now we hold class. Mataji holds classes wherein she teaches her books in a very elaborate and in a very discussion oriented, audience oriented way. I get the fortune of attending those classes every week, although I am not able to make it every time, but Mataji is very kind when she invites and she says. So those books that she has written, she has actually done a bachelor's in social welfare, but I think she's a psychology expert, and the way she dissects and disintegrates all of the different complexities that go on in our funny little minds, especially the emotion part of it. So, uh, Mataji, I was discussing it with a senior over here, and the meaning of ISKCON, the full form of ISKCON in Hindi is Antarashtriya Krishna Bhavnamrit Sangh. So, Bhavna refers to feelings, and feeling is something which is very much neglected or very much taken for granted. So, this is what we'll be discussing in the session today. When I approached Mataji for this, I said, let us do something on emotional intelligence. Mataji said that sounds too complex. Let us make it simpler. Let us talk about something which is more relevant for everyone. Let us talk about what is behind that feeling. Why do we feel what we feel? What are our needs that are being highlighted through those feelings? And how do we help them out? So I would like to invite Mataji, and would like to express my gratitude to Mataji as well for coming. It is 6:30 in the morning, Mataji, at your end.
Yeah.
So it is 6:30 in the morning. It is chanting time, and she's
No. I finished my japa. I
she's,
got
she's
to
already finished the japa. That means she's awake since the past 2-3 hours, and she's done that, and now she's here. So it is our great fortune. Actually, there's something that cannot be expressed in words, but I would allow all of us to feel this when we attend this session. So the stage is yours, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Yeah, welcome everybody. Is there more people than there are on the screen? Is there another? Oh yeah, there is another sheet of people. Okay, wow, got a lot of people on the screen. Okay, welcome everyone. And I'm not used to having this many people on the screen, and I really like to be interactive. So and I'd like to somehow make you feel all at ease, because just because of what he read doesn't mean I'm any different or better than any of you. I want to say that to be a soul in a human machine is quite challenging. So first of all, I want to offer my obeisances to Prabhupada, and I want to say a little prayer, and then we'll begin. Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Tinamine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharine. Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschachade Shatarne. Dear Srila Prabhupada, thank you so much for coming to the United States when you did, so that I could meet you and become part of your movement. Thank you so much for creating this ISKCON so that now I have the opportunity to meet so many like-minded persons. Dear Lord Krishna, please, we invite you and Prabhupada into our class. Please be present with us. Help us to open our minds, our ears, and our hearts to what you would like to show us through our time together. Hare Krishna. So, yeah. Welcome, everybody. And like I was saying, to be a soul in a human machine is the most challenging birth that there is. For animals, they are eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. But if some wolf comes to attack a deer, the deer runs, finds its safe place, shakes off the trauma, and doesn't think about it anymore. Doesn't say, oh, that wolf was so mean. We need to start a protest against wolves. We need to, tell them to stay in their own side of the forest and not bother us. They just shake it off and go on with life. In the human body, we have this mind, which I call the meaning-making mind. So we have a mind that can help us to make meaning. We understand what a computer is. We understand how to turn it on. We understand what glasses are and how they help us see. We understand so many things with our mind. However, our mind categorizes, and it tends to categorize everything. We categorize ourselves, we categorize every action we do, and we categorize everybody else. And we make meaning of everything. And most times that meaning has a lot of emotion behind it. If someone says, oh, I don't want to go, I don't want to do that. If I invite them somewhere to a movie, they say, I don't want to go. A lot of times our mind will make that mean, I don't want to go with you. And we take it personal and we add a lot of emotional content. So we have this mind, which adds meaning, and we have a lot of different emotions. So I don't know, maybe a couple of you could just raise your hand because I like to be interactive. So when you hear the word feelings or emotions, what do you think and how do you feel? How do you feel about that topic? Just if anybody could raise their hand, I'll call on you. Go ahead, Radhika Kishari.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
When I hear feelings and emotions, I feel overwhelmed. Actually, it's
Okay.
such an complex thing to have.
Beautiful, beautiful. Overwhelmed. That is a feeling, by the way. Nice. Nayana Mahesh, how about you?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Actually, when I heard about feelings, I think it is something that is not easy to describe. I mean, it is very confusing and tricky. Sometimes you feel lot of emotion, like she said, overwhelming.
Yeah. Sometimes we feel a lot of emotions simultaneously. Thank you. Pranav, let's hear your take.
I think emotions are very intangible and sometimes very hard to pinpoint. And sometimes,
Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, we'll call on one more person and then I'll address all of what you said. Vivan?
Yes, Hare Krishna Mataji. I think that emotions and feeling are like food, flavorful and all the mixture of spices that you want. Sometimes there's a bit too much salt, but sometimes there's too less, and sometimes it's just the right portion of what you want.
I love that. Like food, huh? Like spices and just different flavors. Beautiful. All right. So I don't know. Hardik, did you send out the feelings and needs card to everybody?
Not yet, Mataji. I will send it.
Okay. So basically, if we were to name feelings, although the persons who just spoke seem to have a little bit touch, if we ask most people what feelings they can name, they name 4 feelings. I think it's happy, sad, mad, and I don't know what else. I can't remember the 4th one, but that's like our feelings vocabulary is pretty much I'm happy, I'm sad, I'm mad, and that's our vocabulary. And one of you said that the it's hard to pinpoint what emotions are. So I'm having Hardik send out a card to you. This may look backwards, I'm not sure. On this card are feelings, names of feelings. These are not all the feelings that there are, but on the top of the card are feelings when our needs aren't met. And then on the bottom of the card are feelings when our needs are met. Now, the feeling that was brought up by some of the persons who raised their hand was overwhelming. Now, I'd like to say being a soul in a human machine is very challenging. Being a soul in a teenage human machine is like super challenging, because what we're trying to do here is figure out who we are separate from what our parents told us. What are we going to do with our life? What am I here for? Who am I? What's going to be my occupation? What's going to be my life? It's a lot to think about. So overwhelm would probably be a standard feeling for someone in a teenage body, just to let you know that. Now, Vivan, I think, was saying that emotions, feelings are like spices. And yes, depending on what spices we like and what spices we don't like, one emotion may feel pleasing to me, and another, that same emotion might not feel pleasing to another, like a feeling of curiosity. That might be scary. That might feel scary for somebody. I don't want curiosity. I want to know the answer. And somebody else might find like, oh, curiosity opens up my mind. It gives me space to like imagine things. So each feeling, and oh, I want to say one more thing. Sorry. Sometimes we can't name the feelings, like we're feeling something, but we can't name it. Now, studies have shown that when we can name our feeling, then 50% of that emotion can come down, because we have a sense of what's going on inside of us. So just being able to name an emotion, 50% of that emotion can come down. If we can't name the emotion, we're kind of surrounded by it. It takes us over and it controls our responses. So that's why he sent this card, this feelings and needs card, because if we can name an emotion, then we can, okay, yeah, I'm feeling confused. Okay, then we can be curious. Okay, So what is this feeling pointing to? So let's go back now to the body. Just like in the body doesn't lie, okay? Our mind can lie sometimes, but the body doesn't lie. So if we're feeling some itch over here, I might say, oh, what's going on there? What is that? Oh, I got bit by a mosquito. So that feeling, that itch, is giving us information. Something bit me. Okay. And then we can take care of it. Similarly, our emotions are letting us know maybe we got bit or pinched, and maybe there's something that we need to do to attend to it. This is the gift. Feelings are messengers and guides. Now, sometimes we may not be able to name exactly what we're feeling in our head, but we might feel it in our stomach, like our stomach might be tensing up, and we might feel really afraid. But when we say, oh, my stomach is tensing, I'm feeling afraid, then we can say, you know, what do I need? On the other side of the card is a list of needs. Maybe I need safety. Maybe I need reassurance. Maybe I need some support. So this is just an outline. This is just an overall view, because I would really like to make this more interactive. I don't just want to be doing all the speaking. So we talked about feelings a little bit, and there are bodily sensations, which also give us information. So when you hear the word needs, I just gave you a really quick overview, but when you hear the word needs, I would like to hear from a couple of you, maybe people who haven't yet spoken. When you hear the word needs, what do you think of when you hear the word needs? So please raise your hands. I would be grateful to have some interaction. Needs. What does that word bring up in you? Does it bring any feelings? Does it, you know, what do you think when you hear the word needs? Do you even know what it means? Even if you have a question about it, let's hear from some of you. Anybody? Okay. Naina Mahesh.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare
When I heard the word needs, I think it is the urges of the mind.
Okay,
That
so you
is,
think it's,
that
okay, you think
and
it's urges
yes,
of the mind. Okay,
yes.
perfect. That's what I want. I want to get the information so I can, yes. Cindy, what do you think of when you hear the word needs?
Hare Krishna Mataji. Like when I hear this word, I just think necessity to heal something.
I'm
Any of our
sorry, I
emotions.
couldn't hear you. I couldn't hear you. Go ahead, say it again.
Just a second.
I can hear you, but it's like there's like an echo, and so, or something, so I couldn't understand you. Not, try it again, Cindy. Uh-oh. Is she frozen? There you go. That's better. There we go. Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, necessity to heal our emotions.
So needs are something to heal our emotions. Is that what you-
Necessity. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Beautiful. Thank you. And Shreya, how about you?
Hare Krishna Mataji. I think needs means that something we want to fulfill our wish.
Okay. All right. So let me address these three little things here. So needs, Shreya said something to fulfill our wish. And then the other one was urges of the mind. And the third one was, okay, what did you say? The other person, I forget what you said. Oh, City, what did you say?
Yes, Mataji. I said necessity to heal the emotions
Necessary
or
to
just
heal the emotions. Okay, all right. So yes. So emotions are not bad, and emotions in and of themselves don't need to be healed. When we're angry, it's not there. It's not bad. It just means that some boundaries being crossed, or our needs aren't getting met. So it's not bad, and the emotion anger doesn't need to be quote unquote healed. There are parts of us that do need to be healed, but the emotion doesn't need to be healed. The emotion is coming up to let us know, hey, there's something we need to pay attention to here. Something isn't feeling right inside of me. Something's not feeling, I'm feeling angry. What's going on here? So when we feel any feeling, all feelings have validity. All feelings have validity. All feelings are trying to tell us something. So if we feel angry, we can be curious what's going on. Now, needs in and of themselves are not urges of the mind. I'd like to qualify what I mean by needs. Needs are universal. We all have needs, and our needs can be similar, even though maybe our strategies may be different. So needs would be something like, even as a soul in a body, we all have a need for security. We all have a need for security. We all have a need for love. We have a need for relationships. We have a need for connection. We have a need for appreciation. We have a need for service. I think I said that one already. So we have a lot of needs. We have a need for, I'm going to look at my card here. We have a need to belong. We have a need to understand. We have a need for some peace, some balance. We have a need for meaning and purpose in our life. So these needs we all have. Now, we don't all have them simultaneously within ourselves, or we don't all have them at the same time, but we all have these needs. There's more that are on the card. So these needs are universal. They're not urges of the mind, but they're deep-seated things which are also giving us information. Just as the feeling is giving us the information, what do we need? It's pointing to some need. When we also name the need, naming the need can give us clarity of what we need, and clarity is also a need. So it's not so complicated. It's pretty simple. However, it takes some practice. Now, understanding our feelings and needs is so valuable in life. I didn't know anything about really feelings and needs until I was probably over 50. So I'm 20 years ago. So it's like understanding our feelings and needs give us a grounding, give us like a foundation of understanding with which we can interact with ourselves and we can interact with other people. If I'm just in my feeling and I can't even name it, probably what's going to come out of my mouth is something I might later on regret. Or whatever comes out of my mouth might cause a reaction to the other person over there. So understanding my feelings can help me to get some grounding. Okay, I'm feeling kind of frustrated, and then I can understand what I need, and then I can understand what can work in my life and how to make my life work and what to do about that feeling, So I'm just giving a really broad understanding. there's a lot of you on the call, and I want to include all of you in this discussion. So I want to answer your questions about feelings and needs. And I think that will be more relevant for you than me just talking, if that's okay. I don't know. How do you? And yeah, I'd like to hear some questions from any of you, thoughts about just the little bit that I said. Go ahead, Vrinda. Let's hear your
Hare
thought.
Krishna,
Or,
Mataji.
Hi, Krishna.
Mataji, I would like to ask you that as you said that understanding or someone we could share our feelings is an important part. So my question is that when we don't get someone to like share our feelings with, so like our emotions get all mixed up and we are like fulfilling our emotions inside and until the time when it gets outbursted. So how could we just like overcome this situation and problem?
Very relevant question. Very, very, very relevant. If you could keep your hand raised, because then I can see you and look at you when I'm answering your question. That feels better to me, because otherwise I'm looking at a different screen. So, first of all, naming our feelings doesn't necessarily require another person, although having another person to listen to us is very helpful for us to process. However, not everyone knows how to listen. And so we can tell somebody, and then they can just say, oh, that's stupid that you feel that way, and what's wrong with you, and blah, 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 and you should just do this and do that. And that doesn't make us feel any better. Now we're angry because they didn't even hear what we had to say. So not everyone knows how to listen and hold our feelings. So if we want to speak to somebody about it, we want to choose someone who can actually hear and reflect back and help us. But that doesn't mean if we don't have that person that we can't do anything. We can always write down, and he did send out this card to all of you on the WhatsApp. You can just look at this card, and if you want, you can even print it out and carry it with you. And then you can look at the card and say, what am I feeling right now? This card will give you some basic words to choose from. And when you choose the word and you get the word, oh yeah, I'm feeling really irritated. Yes, that's the word, irritated. And when you can find the word and even just say the word, it just feels so good that you know what you're feeling. And it's okay to feel irritated. Like, none of the feelings are bad. It's not wrong to feel irritated and get angry. It's just a sign that some need isn't getting met. So then you can even write it down. Okay, I'm feeling irritated. All right. You can have a little journal, a little feelings and needs journal. You write it down in the journal, and then you turn over the card, which has needs on it. And then you look and you see, what do I need? I'm feeling irritated. I need some, what do I need? I need some consideration. I need to be heard. And nobody believes me. Nobody wants to hear me. I need to be heard. So then you can write that down. Okay, now you've got your feeling and you've got your need. Now you can think of, okay, I need to be heard. Well, at least I heard myself. So that's one step. I didn't completely not know what's going on. Who might I be able to talk to who could hear me? And, if you think of somebody, you could say to that person, I'm feeling irritated and I have a need to be heard. Would you be willing to just listen and hear me? And somebody might be able to do that if you tell them what it is that you need. That's how you can start out. It's a beginning, it's a start. And the thing is, it's kind of like learning how to walk. You know, when we learn how to walk when we're a little baby, you know, we stand up and we're kind of shaky and then we fall down. And then we stand up and maybe we take one step and fall down. So it's a practice. So learning how to, you know, this card really helps with the practice, learning to identify our feelings and a need is a practice. And as we do it, we'll get better and better at it. And it's going to help us to understand. Now, there are other parts to this that just because I'm feeling angry and I have a need to be heard, and you need to hear me, you need to hear me out. And then we throw that on the other person. You did this and that and this and that and this and that. That might not go over well if we're angry at that person. Because most people don't like to be wrong. And if I made you angry, then I must be a bad person. So you might want to talk to somebody else about your anger rather than the person you're actually feeling it towards. You know, otherwise it could have reactions. Then after you talk to another person and think yourself and journal about it, then you might be able to say, you know, my dear friend, you know, I just noticed that every time we're supposed to meet, you come 20 minutes late. And I'm feeling a little frustrated about that. Is there anything you think that we could do about that? And you could maybe say it in a different way than, you're always late, you don't care about me, So this gives us a little distance from our feelings. We can be more observing and witnessing them and understanding what we need. And then usually we can, you know, we can maybe talk to somebody else and then we can maybe express it. And then it'll come out a little bit better. And then we'll feel better too, because, you know, when we're angry and we burst out at somebody, then we don't feel very good. Then we feel sad. Oh, I just ruined my relationship with this person, but I was feeling angry and I didn't know what to do with it. So, you know, understanding, first of all, from our own perspective, our own feelings, then maybe being able to express to somebody else first to kind of process it a little bit. Then when we express it to the person that we want to express it to, it'll come out differently. It won't just come out as a reaction. Was that helpful?
Yes, Mataji, thank you so much. It's very
You're
helpful
welcome.
for me. I will
You're
also
welcome.
inculcate in my life further.
Yes, 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 yes. Just start practicing. Thank you. Thank you so much. Gia, let's hear from you, Gia.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare
So,
Krishna.
I've had various interactions and conversations with a psychologist, and I have heard this like common thing in all those conversations and from general knowledge on the internet about emotions and feelings, that the best way to deal with emotions is to recognize them in your body. Like there's always an emotion inside your body, you can feel it. But that whole thing activity is so frustrating and hard to do sometimes. Not every emotion can be felt inside the body. That it's like very difficult. So how do we figure out, like how do is
I
it
wouldn't,
necessary to always
I
feel the
don't,
emotions?
I wouldn't say it's always necessary. However, sometimes if we don't know what we're feeling, no, I'm fine, everything's fine. We can
Yeah.
look at our hands and say, well, then why are my fists clenched and why is my voice raising? You know, so the body can give us information when we're clueless, like, I don't know what I'm feeling. I don't know what I'm feeling. Well, how do you feel in your body? I don't know, tired. So it can help us, but it's not absolutely always necessary. And And sometimes we might be good at, you know, not feeling it in our body. Sometimes we're disconnected from our body and we might not feel anything. I don't feel anything. I feel okay. I don't know. I don't feel anything. I don't know. So it could be a feeling of numbness, and numbness is a feeling, but so it's not necessary to feel it in the body, but sometimes the body can help us when we can't understand it. But I find that this card helps a lot because it gives us words, and you can look at it and say, oh, there it is. That's what I'm feeling. Because if we don't have a word for it, that's where the mind can help us. If we don't have a word for it, we're just like, I don't know what I'm feeling. I don't know, I'm feeling a lot of things. And then you name all the feelings you're feeling: confused, upset, impatient. I'm feeling all of these. So then you write them all down and it's like, okay, that's a lot of feelings. Yeah, no wonder I was like all worked up. So it's not absolutely necessary. And sometimes it is helpful also. And the what I would call in the body, I would call it sensations, not emotions. It's bodily sensations. You might feel a tightness. There's a difference in the description of, like, I can feel a tightness in my stomach, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I feel scared. It could mean I feel angry or constrained, you know. So what the sensations you feel in your body might not translate exactly to the emotions. So this card can help. Okay, does that make sense?
Thank you,
You're
Mataji.
welcome. You're welcome. Okay, we got some more questions. Yay, this is helpful for me. Shriji, please.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept
Haribo.
my obeisances.
Haribo.
I actually jotted my question down. So, Mataji, sometimes we talk to someone, like anyone, like our friends or like our families or our neighbors. They don't respond the way we expect. We start thinking they're not talking to me properly, or like something happened, or I expected more from them. So, but maybe they are going through something that we don't even expect. Maybe they are going through a hardship or something like that. So,
Yes.
how can we truly understand others when there is an emotional intelligence difference, like between barrier? So when they don't share their feeling or their needs or like their feelings, so how to understand them?
Okay, most people don't know what they're feeling and they have no idea what they need. Most people. This is why if you learn this when you're young, oh my gosh, they should. This would be great to be taught in schools. It would be great if this could be taught in schools, because having emotional regulation, oh my gosh, what a gift. So most people don't know their feelings and needs. So if I can understand what I'm feeling and what I'm needing, and even what I'm expecting, I'm expecting them to be able to tell me what I'm feeling and needing. I'm expecting them to be able to answer my question. Wow. Well, if they can't do that, then I'm going to be upset. So expectations that aren't spoken can create disappointment. It's really good to know what our expectations are, and we could make a request. I'm feeling frustrated. I have a need to be heard. Would you be willing to just listen to me and not give me any suggestions, just to sit and listen to me and just let me vent out what I'm feeling? You don't have to say anything or do anything. Would you be willing to do that? They might say yes. And they might not know how to listen. They might say, oh, well, you should do this. And well, I can't believe he did. They might interject their thoughts and into the whole thing, which maybe won't help you. A lot of people don't know how to listen. And so if we want our need to be heard, to be met, we might want to find someone who is trained in listening, or who we've had the experience that they can listen to us. And then our need can get fulfilled. But if we expect something, City, you can ask me that question in 1 second because I can't hold two things at the same time. City asked a chat question. So having expectations that are unspoken is almost a setup for us to be disappointed. But if I express what I'd like from you, if I express it, and then you can say, no, I can't listen to you, or they might say yes and think they can listen to you, and then you discover that that didn't actually help. And you can say thank you for trying to listen, but you don't have to tell them that it didn't necessarily work. But you can find people who are better at listening than other people. There are people like that. So now I forget your original question. Did I actually answer your question? Yes. Okay. Thank you so much. It's really good to ask these questions and, to understand that there's not one answer. Sometimes in ISKCON, like you ask a question and I just give the book answer, pray to Krishna or chant or whatever. And there are other things that can be added besides that. So thank you. Okay, City had a question in the chat. Can somebody read that for me? And then I'll just answer that. And then I'll go to the next person. What was your question about expectation?
Mataji, I can ask,
Yeah, what's the question?
yeah, Mataji, like you mentioned, expectations. So I just need to ask that, like, how can we stop those expectations? Like, of course, we all have expectations from other person. Like, I don't know, like for no reasons, but of course, we need to stop this. So, like, is there any ways from which we can stop those expectations?
Well, generally, we can't necessarily stop what our mind says or what we want, or however, if we can notice that we have an expectation and write down that expectation, underneath that expectation would probably be a need that we would want fulfilled. If we can name the need, let's see, I have some need for some comfort. And I'm expecting if I talk to my friend that they're going to comfort me when I tell them what happens. But then they say, oh, well, you shouldn't have done that. No wonder they did that to you. And they didn't give me comfort. They they gave me advice and they told me I was wrong. Okay, I'm going to be really upset. If I know what I need and I can tell the person, I'm feeling upset. I feel like nobody listens to me and I need a little comfort. Could you give me a hug or something? You know what I mean? We can get what we need and they don't even have to necessarily listen to the whole story. We can just get what we need. But if we don't know what we need and we don't express what we need to the other person, and we just expect them to somehow miraculously, mystically understand what I need, come on, can't you see I need some comfort? Can't you see that? No. I thought you needed some tranquilizer. I didn't know you needed comfort. I didn't know what you needed. I don't know. What do I know? So if we can name that and specifically make a request for that, it's much more likely that our need would get met. So behind every expectation is a need. What do I need? Okay, where am I most likely going to be able to get that need met? The needs are so important, and we don't even know what we need, and we expect other people to know what we need. Oh, I remember the person I was talking to before. I think it was Shrij. I can't remember who I was talking to before, but how can we she said something about how can we understand other people? The first person to understand is ourselves. If we don't understand ourselves and we don't understand our own feelings and our own needs, we're not going to be able to understand another person who doesn't know about their feelings and needs. So the first person to understand is this one right here. Now, we all have cell phones, probably, right? I bet you know more about the operating systems in your cell phone than you know about the operating systems in this machinery right here, which you are in and interacting with 24/7. So if we can start to understand our machinery, our feelings and our needs and what we're expecting and what we do that doesn't work and what we do that does work, if we can start understanding our operating systems, woohoo, wow, we know where the option buttons are. We can push the buttons and we have a lot more flexibility. If I don't know anything about my phone, how do I turn this on? Well, how do I make it? I can't hear. How can I make it? We're going to be really frustrated. And usually we're pretty frustrated with ourselves because we don't understand our operating system. And we judge ourselves and we shame ourselves for being so blah, blah, blah. But we don't understand ourselves. So our feelings and needs, if we can understand our feelings and name them, and we can see what we need and name that, and then find some healthy strategy to fulfill that need. If we can do that, wow, we got a lot going for us. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for your question. And I'm glad I remembered that other thing I was going to say. Did I answer your question, Siddhi?
Yes, Mataji, that was so helpful. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Kushagra, please, you're next.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Sometimes,
Haribo.
sometimes we have secret feelings which we don't think to tell somebody else, but it is necessary to tell someone, our guide or our mentor. So, what can we do at that time? How can we convey?
Yeah. Well, secret feelings. At least if we can acknowledge them, at least starting with ourselves, it's important to acknowledge what we're feeling. Now, if there's a need to keep that feeling secret, sometimes secrecy can make that feeling, and I don't know what kind of a feeling it is, it could make that feeling get bigger or something like that. So there could be two kinds of secret feelings. I don't know what your secret feeling is. I'm just going to give two examples. So maybe I like somebody and it's a secret feeling and I like somebody, but I'm afraid to tell them because if I tell them, then I might get rejected. And so, oh my gosh, I wouldn't be able to handle that. So I'm not going to tell them. But the more we don't tell them, it doesn't go away. It just keeps building up inside of us. And every time we see that person, oh my gosh. So sometimes revealing in pieces, like, oh, I really like the way you, I really like how smart you are in class, or I really like the way you dress, rather than saying, I like you, because I may not know that person. You can just start a conversation with, I like this about you. And then that might start a conversation. And then they might, interact with you, and you might see a lot of other things that you don't like and say, oh, okay, maybe this isn't the person I really like, So that's one secret feeling. Another secret feeling might be a secret feeling of shame. And I do want to talk just a little bit about shame. Being a soul in a human machine is very challenging. And in this world is moving so fast with these cell phones, fast. Bing, 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 bing. So much stimulation. And there are ads and there are other things and there are feeds which are very tempting and people know how to get you, even news feeds. They just have one headline and that one headline draws you in and then they show you the next one and then you're just an hour later, you're like, what was I doing there? So sometimes we feel shame about things that we do. But then we don't want to tell anybody that, I have an internet addiction or, I spent 2 hours playing this video game and I didn't do my homework or whatever. And so when we keep that feeling, that shame secret, it also grows and gets worse. So it's not that we have to reveal every dark secret to everyone. And if we reveal any secret to anyone, we need it to be someone who we completely trust, who completely can keep confidentiality, and who's not going to judge us. Because if we reveal something we feel pretty tender about or scared about, and then they judge us, or they tell us, you shouldn't feel angry, you should forgive that person, what's your problem? It's going to exacerbate the situation. So it is good to find someone that we completely trust and start talking about it. And if we can't find anybody immediately, at least, maybe writing about it, but maybe you're afraid to write about it because then somebody might read it and see it. The sooner that we can express our shame and work on what it is that's really bothering us, the sooner we're going to be able to heal that. And if we don't, it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And the bigger it gets, the less we want to talk about it. And then we're sometimes living a double life. So you're young. There are many things that just, attract our minds and divert our attention. And so being able to talk about that, even sometimes with a friend, then that can sometimes help us to not hide and not keep everything secret. And I'm not saying, again, that you reveal all your deepest, darkest secrets. However, shame is a killer. Shame is a killer. And when we don't have anybody to talk about what we feel shameful about, it strangles us. So there's love and then there's shame, and those are the two things we might hide. There could be other things, but I don't know if I addressed
Yeah,
your
Mataji, you addressed
question.
it very well. Thank you, Mataji.
Okay, yeah, I just took two extremes of what we might want to hide. So yeah, thank you very much. Okay, Shreya, please. Thank you.
Krishna Mataji, if we want to share our feelings with someone, like we went to the temple yesterday, and we feel so happy with that we went to the temple. But and I want to share the feelings to someone, but well, I realizes there's no our friends. So what do we do?
So you want to share your feelings of happiness with someone, and what? You don't have any, what did you say about friends? I didn't get that.
That nobody is there to share our feelings.
Oh, nobody's there to
Like,
share our
and
feelings with. Okay. Yeah. And so, yeah, we are social beings. And especially when we're feeling happy, we want to share it with somebody. Oh my gosh, I finished my garden fence. I want to share my victory. Oh my gosh, I got a good mark on my grade, on my test. Oh, oh, I got, I don't know, something like that. Of course, we want to share it. Now, sometimes, like, it's the middle of the night, nobody's up, or people are at work or at school, and there's nobody around to share it with. I mean, do you have any friends that you could even just text? Yes, no?
Yes, Mataji, I don't have. Yeah, I don't have any friends right now.
You don't have any friends?
No,
Is that
Mataji.
what you have friends?
No.
Oh, you don't have any friends. Okay. So you have a need for friends, for companionship, for
Yeah.
yeah. So how might you learn how to make some friends? Are you afraid of making friends?
Maybe or maybe not.
Maybe you feel a little shy?
Yes, maybe.
Okay. All right. So you have a need for friends and you feel a little shy and maybe afraid to make friends. Yeah? Something like that? So that would be the
Yeah.
first, that would be the first thing. And maybe there's people in this group that maybe you could start to make a friendship with and start with one person. Maybe you could find somebody that, you know, you might be able to share with. Because sometimes it's hard to share with our parents. They don't exactly get as excited as a friend might. Do you have any siblings? Sister or
Yes.
brother? Do you share with them?
Sister.
Do you share with your
Yeah.
sister?
Yeah.
You could start sharing by sharing with your sister, maybe if you trust her and have a good relationship with her, you could start there.
Okay. Okay, Mataji.
Okay, is your sister there?
Yeah, here is here.
Is that your sister?
I have a lot of sisters. One is here.
Okay. Okay. So then you just ask your sisters and say, I have a need to share my happiness. Will you share in my happiness? Start with your sisters. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much, Shreya. And your sisters are right there. That's kind of cute, isn't it?
And a motivation. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Radhika has a thought and a question.
Yes, Raji. Thank you so much for explaining every answer in such detail. And actually, my answers were also, my needs were also met. And
Yes.
okay, I believe that I am somehow emotionally intelligent than others, and
Okay.
I can understand my emotions, and I can know what I'm feeling and what I need. But
Okay.
there are some people that are my friends, and I am like, they don't know that they are feeling some way and why they are doing what they're doing. For example, if they just stay angry and I try to explain it to them, it's not because you're angry at this thing. It's just, that thing that happened in the past that made you, react
Yes.
to that, react in that sense. So I don't understand how to deal with people who actually do not understand their emotions.
Yeah.
Sometimes they just don't want to listen because they think
Yeah.
they know it all, and I want to help them,
Yes.
but I just can't.
Yes. That feels very frustrating. There are so many people that we love and care about, and we want to share everything that we have and that we know to help them. We want to help them. That is one of the hardest lessons to get. We can't change anybody. We can't, in one sense, help anybody. especially if they don't want the help.
Wow.
And sometimes us wanting to offer help to others makes them more resistant, because we're becoming like, if I'm coming like, I want to help you, even if I don't say those words, but it's that mood, this person over here is going to feel like, oh, you think there's something wrong with me, huh? And guess what? 99.9% of human beings, souls in human machines, do not like to feel wrong. They feel shameful if they're wrong. So if you are trying to share all this information, you must think I'm stupid or something. And, and so then they resist that. And then you get frustrated because you want them to be happy. But actually wanting to help somebody might make them feel, oh, you think I don't know, huh? And then they're going to come back at you like, hey, I know what I'm doing, right? They're going to come back with, I know, right? They think they know everything, right? Well, you think you know everything too, because you're trying to tell me something that you think I don't know. So can you see the mirror there?
Yes.
Yeah. And this is a tough one to get, but if you can get this early on in your life, you will prevent yourself a lot of agony. I tried to change so many people in my life. I was married twice, and you always want to make it better. Come on, I'm just trying to help you. And it makes it worse sometimes. So the best thing we can do is model what we understand. Oh, I can see you're feeling kind of angry right now. I'm not angry. Oh, okay. I mean, I had one friend pound on a desk. I am not angry. Okay. All right. So you could even ask it as a question, because see, you are all young adults, and young adults, they gotta be secure out here, because inside it's a crazy world, right? So I'm a young adult. So, you don't have to tell me anything. I got it together. I got to show the whole world I got it together, even though, like, oh my God, it's like crazy in here. So, even with my adult children and my adult grandchildren, I have grandchildren who are 20, 22, asking questions is a nice way to introduce something without coming at them like, I know better than you. So like saying, oh, wow, I'm curious, you're feeling really upset. Yeah, that person said that to me. Okay, well, how did that make you feel? Did you ever feel that way before? Do you remember anybody else ever treating you like that and you feeling like that? Wow, that feeling comes up a lot in you, huh? That's interesting. That's it. You don't have to explain anything to them. They'll get it when they're ready. And most people can only digest it in small pieces. Yeah, because it's too overwhelming.
Yes, truly.
And you might come across as too overwhelming because you know too much. And then they're like, I don't want to know all that, So, yeah. And your journey, your growth would be, how can I sit with another person's feelings and not try to fix it? That would be your journey. If you can learn that, oh my gosh, wow, everybody will be your friend, because everybody wants to be listened to and not get any advice given towards them. But that's hard, because you seeing their pain is bringing up pain in you. And if you can address that pain, and you can address your own pain about their pain, that's going to be a huge breakthrough for you. So I've had anxiety my whole life, and I generously passed it on to my kids and my grandkids. I mean, not consciously, but I did. So I still deal with anxiety. I have a lot of energy and some ADHD. So there's a lot of anxious energy. And I can worry about anything, even if there's nothing to worry about. I can worry about things. I'm still working on it, but I can laugh at it a lot more. So one day my grandson, who's 21, was telling me something about his situation. And I was trying to help him. We do that, right? And then I said to him, you know, my anxiety about your anxiety is just more anxiety. And then we both laughed and I stopped. So when we can get what's going on inside of us, we can stop trying to fix everybody around us and just let them grow. And we could ask questions and be curious and let them learn and grow at the pace that they can digest it, because everybody has all that they have to grapple with. And I have no idea what that is. Was that helpful?
Yes, Manaji, it was so helpful because I am able to follow all of these instructions with others, but when they're too close to me, it
Yes.
gets to my ego that, okay, they are mine. They are supposed to know this and, all of that. Thank you so much for this. And when you mentioned the ADHD, I also remembered another point that sometimes there are people, and I myself would feel earlier that, oh my God, I have dyslexia or something. And I would just try to name my
Yes.
lateness as a
Yes.
disease or something, and I would call it as an illness. Of course, I might be slightly dyslexic. I don't have a check for that, but I think that I was just taking that as an excuse and just brushing everything off.
Yeah.
Would you?
We do have to, yeah, we do have to be careful. I mean, I don't particularly like to name everything. However, I didn't know that I had ADHD until like three or 4 years ago. And my sister said, oh yeah, we all have ADHD. I said, well, great. Why didn't you tell me? That would have been nice to know. I just thought I was a crazy person and I thought I should get a lobotomy. I had no idea I had ADHD. So sometimes naming something, it's not who I am. I'm not an anxious person. I have anxiety, but I'm not an anxious person. I have anxiety. And how can I manage it? I'm not ADHD, but my mind moves really fast. And, I can be on the way to get a spoon and 3 things happen in between me getting the spoon and coming back. And then I'm like, what did I come here for? Because 3 other things happened. So just understanding my machinery helps me to be kind to myself. If I can understand myself and my machinery, then that helps me to operate without beating myself up and adding more pain to my already anxious mind. Does that make sense?
Yes, Manaji, for sure. Thank you so much.
Okay. Yeah. All right. I'm waiting for some more thoughts and questions. Thank you, Ria. Thank you, Radhika. Okay.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you so much
Yes.
for sharing your insights, your thoughts and knowledge with us. Actually, other people who've been asking questions till now and thoughts you've shared as well, they have been to my benefit, honestly, because
Okay,
they've
good.
answered many of my queries as well.
That makes me
But
happy.
I still, thank you so much, Mataji. I still had this one question in mind, which is emotions are something which are very very difficult to handle, And sometimes, as you already mentioned, we don't exactly know that how to name this emotion, or how to absorb ourselves completely in it, or how to recognize what exactly is happening with us. So lately that has been happening a lot with me. I'm not
Yeah.
exactly able to, like, basically I can say that life is a little bit messy for me right now. I'm dealing with a strong
Oh,
range.
convoluted. So much stuff going on all at the same time. Oh my gosh.
Exactly, so there have been a wide range of emotions, like from one extreme to the other. I'm just feeling a
Ah,
variety of emotions, and that
yeah.
has made my mind all boggled up, and I really don't know how to get out of it.
Okay,
So if you
great.
could just
Perfect.
help me
Perfect.
in some way.
Perfect. Thank you for expressing probably what everybody else is feeling also. Because again, being a soul in a human machine, being a soul in a teenage human machine, oh my, in this day and age with these machines, oh my gosh, it is overwhelming. Life is moving so fast, so fast. So it's kind of like having a ball of yarn that got all tangled up. So we just take one thing at a time, and you take whatever is on the top. Don't try to go all the way down. Just what's on the top? Okay, what's the first thing that comes to my mind that I'm feeling? If you use this card, this can help you sort it out. He put it on the text. So you look, what am I feeling? What do I need? Okay, put that over there. And then the next one that comes up, what am I feeling? What do I need? You can do this throughout the day. And then you can sort it out, and then you can look at it on a piece of paper rather than it all being in here. And you can say, oh yeah, yeah, okay, and I need that. How could I meet that need? And and then you might have 4 feelings and the same need connected with 4 feelings. And so you can, oh, that's important. Maybe I should work on getting that need met. And then 4 emotions can be handled. You know what I mean? Like I'm feeling sad, and I'm feeling so many things. So just writing it down, this card is going to give you a way to track what's going on. And if you can track it, because your mind is just going to go all over the place. So if you can track it and write it down, then you can say, okay, which one do I want to deal with right now? I can't deal with all of them. And you try to deal with all of them. Then you feel another one, overwhelm. Okay. So I'm not going to deal with the overwhelm. Let me just deal with 1 or 2 at a time. And you work on managing those, and then you can sort through it. Does that make sense? Yeah, because it is overwhelming. There is so much bombarding our brains. And I'm exhausted. I don't even want to deal with any of it. Good night. Or I'm just going to play a game, something. So, yeah. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, Mataji, yes.
Okay.
And I also had this one small thing which I wanted to
Go
ask,
ahead. No
that
problem.
how how to ease the burden of someone else's expectations. Like, people have expectations from us, and
Ah,
sometimes the burden of those expectations, it's just too, again I would use the word overwhelming. Like, it is
yes.
too much to handle. Like, obviously the
Yes.
other person has said that, oh, I don't have expectations, but we know deep inside that, suppose our parents only, just as an
Yes.
example.
Probably it's a lot of the parents. Yes. Probably. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
parents always say that we don't have any expectations, don't take it as a burden, just do whatever you want to do, what you feel. But
Well, you're
deep
lucky
down,
they're saying that at least externally. At least they're saying that externally. Okay. That's good, because some parents aren't saying that. So anyway, go ahead.
so like my parents, I know one fact for sure, that they're saying it and they mean it as well. But deep inside in my heart, I always feel that they have done so much for me all throughout my life, and now it's my time to do something back for them. and it's just I don't want to complicate things, but I end up doing so. So is there
Yeah.
some way I can
It
solve that?
sounds like you have an expectation to pay them back, and you feel an obligation to pay them back, not that they expect you to. So it sounds like it's something going on inside of you. You feel guilty that you received so much or something, and you feel like you owe them something, which, okay, but then you feel like you need to pay it back. Something like that. Is that true
Yeah,
or
we
not?
can say that. Yeah.
Something like that? Okay. Well, one thing is you can do a payment plan. You don't have to pay them all back at once. It can be a lifelong payment plan, and you can just give them a hug one day and a smile another day, and a like, I need some space, mom, another day. You know, you can take a break and, from your obligation every once in a while and say, I can't do any of that. But I sense that the obligation and the expectation is inside of you, and you feel, I don't know where it's coming from. I don't know if you have siblings and you're comparing yourself to somebody else. I don't know exactly what the dynamic of it is. However, I think it's an expectation you have of yourself. So you want to look at that and see, why are you feeling such an obligation? And you could even just express, I'm so grateful to you. If you would even just say those words to your parents, I'm so grateful for how much you've given me. If you can even just say that, oh my gosh, every parent would be like, whoa, I did something right. Because it's hard to be a parent too. So, you think you have to pay them back, but more than money or time or doing things for them, saying things like that, it's quick, but it really lands deeply with the parent. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, Mataji.
Yeah, but so you got to pay attention to your expectation of yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll take note.
And of course, our parents never want us to be sad or have any problem. So if I have a problem, then I feel like I'm a burden to my parent. However, we are all going to be going through things. We don't have to add more guilt and shame. Oh, I'm having a problem. I'm a bad person. Adding that shame on top of whatever it is we're dealing with makes it almost impossible to even deal with what we're dealing with. Does that make sense?
Yes, Mataji.
So that shame thing, you got to watch that one. Okay?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Mataji.
Thank you. Shriji.
Yeah, Mataji, one more question I wanted to ask.
I love this question and answer format. It's so much fun for me.
Mataji, I wanted to ask, as you said, that we should understand our machinery and feelings. Sometimes we overthink so much that we don't know what to do. Even we jot down in journal or notebook, we don't know. Our mind brings that back and say we should do this, and all the stuff because mix up and that's it.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
wanted to ask that how we can understand our machinery and feelings and stop this overthinking and control our mind.
Okay. So overthinking usually is a compensation when we're a little kid. When we're a little kid and we see our parents doing things that we don't understand or telling us things that we don't understand or not being able, we're trying to figure it out in our head. And if we have a certain intelligence level, we start to speed up and think more and more. Oh my gosh, I did that. Oh, but when I did that, then that happened. Now I got to go do this. And now I got to do that. And we're trying to compensate and fix everything in this world out here that we don't understand. And we're trying to figure it out, because if we figure it out, then we feel a little stable and a little safe, So overthinking is not bad, but it can. So the thing is, again, just trying to find out, what do I need? I need to understand. I need to know what to do. I need security. Okay. Are there other ways I can get it besides just thinking? Could I go out and do something? Could I read a book? Could I, are there other ways for me to, not that I just have to sit here and figure it all out myself. Could I talk to somebody who is maybe an expert in this field or whatever? So, and just when you're overthinking, just say, okay, do some deep breathing, calm your body. When we calm our body, we calm our mind because they're connected. When the body feels that there's some threat, even if it's just a perceived threat, oh my gosh, I don't know, I'm going to have a test tomorrow and I don't know how I'm going to do in the test tomorrow. It's a perceived threat. It's not a threat, but it's a perceived threat. I have a test tomorrow and I got to get a good grade, because if I don't get a good grade, then I'm not going to get a good job. And if I don't get a good job, then I'm going to, nobody's going to want to marry me. And we go a million miles, right? So, okay, so it's a perceived threat. So that activates the sympathetic nervous system, which is fight or flight. And then the brain goes into like, I got to protect you. So when we can calm the body and get it into this parasympathetic, rest and digest, then we can calm the mind. And then we'll have a little, okay, it's a test. It's just a test. It's not life or death. It's a test. I hate tests, okay, but it's a test. And being calm, and even there's meditations that can calm our anxiety. Sarah Raymond has really good meditations you can listen to calm your body. When we can calm our body and calm our mind, we'll probably do better on the test than if we go in so activated we can't even sleep the night before, and so activated that we're freaking out. Why can't I remember this? I know this. And then we're just pressuring all of our systems even more. So calm your body, and that will calm your mind. And when you're overthinking, say, oh, I need to calm my body. Okay? Thank you. Good question. I'm sure it was relevant for a lot of people. Nehal, please. I'm glad you're pinning the person next to me. It's really nice to be able to look at the person that I'm talking to. Thank you. Whoever is doing that. Go ahead, Nehal.
It's Mataji. I have my question is about this particular feeling, the feeling of hatred. Mataji, when someone did something bad to us in the past, it kind of it's obvious to feel the hate. But Mataji, like those people are now not even in my life. But whenever their face comes up in my mind, I feel all those grudges and I get disturbed. So much. Is this a bad feeling? In my feeling?
No.
It is somewhat.
It's not. You're not
It
a bad
is,
person.
yes,
Not a bad.
this feeling is residing in our heart, and it is not harming that person, but somewhat harming us.
So say that last thing again. I'm sorry, I missed it. Say that last thing. Something about harming. Go ahead, say it again.
Actually, this feeling doesn't harm the other person. He's not gonna change, but it is like a dirt residing in our heart.
Okay. So usually hatred comes from anger, and anger comes from hurt. So I would guess that this person hurt you very badly. Yes? They hurt you so much. Is that true?
Yes, right.
Okay. So the anger and the hatred are you trying to protect yourself from being hurt. Okay, so there's nothing wrong with that. Those are protective mechanisms. However, of course, feeling hate and maybe even fear doesn't feel good inside your body, right? So nurturing the part of you that was hurt badly and talking to that part of you and giving that part of you love and comfort and care and say, I care for you. I love you. Whatever that person did was awful. They hurt you so much. You know, that and you didn't have the means at that point to protect yourself. They were probably bigger than you. So so just giving comfort to that little girl part of you rather than focusing on the protection, I hate you, which has validity. It has validity. Of course, you angry and maybe even afraid of someone who hurt you badly. Does that make sense? Of course. However, that hatred is just a protective mechanism. So if you go to that hurt part of you and take care of her, Krishna will take care of that other guy. I'm sensing it's guy. That's just my sense, but maybe it's not. Krishna will take care of that other person. And Krishna wants you to take care of that hurt part of you and give that hurt part of you the love and care she needs that she didn't get. Yeah. And you see that person's face and you're like, no, thank you. No, thank you. Krishna, please. No, thank you. So you dismiss that person. You know, you put that out of your way, but Krishna, here, please take care of this person. I can't even bear to look at them. So that's more like it does that make sense to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Talk to that hurt part of you and give her lots of love. And even a validation that she, you know, of course she feels hurt and fear and even anger. Of course she does. I'm here with you now, and I'm not going to let that person near you, okay? And then she's going to say, okay, cool, you know? And then you don't have to do it out here. Does that make sense?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Okay. You're welcome. You're welcome. That was a difficult question to ask, and I just acknowledge you for your courage and your ability to ask that question because it's really important. Thank you. Okay, Kushagra. I'm probably saying your names wrong, but please forgive me. I'm not I'm not Indian. How do you say your name?
What, Mataji?
Kushagra.
Kushagra.
How do you say your name? Kushagra. Okay, I said
Kushagra.
it. Okay. I said
Yeah.
Kushagra.
Yeah. Yeah. Mataji, my question is that how I can stop harsh speaking because this hurts the other person and I don't feel that I'm speaking harsh. So how can I feel that I'm speaking harsh and how can I stop it?
Okay. Yeah. First of all, becoming aware of the words that we're using. And if people used to tell me a lot that I'm intense. And I'm like, what are you talking about intense? I'm not intense. What are you intense? I didn't even notice my tone of voice. So sometimes harsh might have to do with the tone of voice. It might have to do with the words we choose. And it might even be like something as simple like, what's wrong with you? You know, I might point out something that they're doing wrong, and that could feel very harsh to a person because, again, 99.9% of human beings don't like to be wrong. So if I'm pointing out something that somebody's doing that's wrong, that can feel harsh, even though, hey, I'm just telling you the truth. What's your problem? I'm just telling you like it is. What's your problem? You know, it's hard for people to take it like that. So it could be tone of voice. And there could be some, you know, I'm just guessing, and I'm just giving an example. This doesn't necessarily have to be the truth of what your situation is, but sometimes we might have an intensity. I had an intensity because I had to learn how to be really strong and intense when I was young. I had a brother who was 2 years older than me that punched me a lot. So I had to learn how to be tough and fight back. And, you know, when you get punched a lot, it hurts. And so, you know, I'm going to hurt you. So these feelings may be completely unconscious because we've done them for so long. What are you talking about intense? I'm not intense. Can you hear the tone of my voice? When people would tell me I was intense, what are you talking about? I'm not intense. I'm intense? What do you mean I'm intense? I couldn't see it. And so, you know, you're sensing something, which is good. So just pay attention and just be curious, you know, be curious. Why do I have such a need to, you know, use those words? Pay attention to the words you're choosing. Pay attention to your tone of voice. Why do I need to speak so loud? Why do I need to point out everybody's mistakes? I'm just making all this up. But be curious about what you're doing and how you're doing it. And if somebody says to you, you're harsh, then you could ask them, what did I say or do that had you say that? And be curious. They'll give you good feedback. They'll give you good feedback. Well, you know, your voice, you're just so loud. Oh, okay, thank you. So then I have friends, because I sometimes tend to get loud sometimes. I have friends who go, Sukhavaha. Okay. Yeah. And I can just bring it down a few notches. So again, understanding our machinery, understanding what we do that works, understanding what we do that doesn't work, you know, all of that is helpful.
But
So
Mataji,
use
by
this
being
as,
curious,
yeah.
but by being curious, how we would be stopped being harsh.
Okay. Don't try to stop, because that stopping is resisting. Like, I'm a bad person. I shouldn't be so harsh. Maybe you're being harsh with yourself. So if you're harsh with yourself, it's going to bleed out into your other relationships, and you will be harsh with others. If you're so harsh on yourself, which I just sensed in this moment, are you harsh on yourself? Are you hard on yourself? Are you angry at yourself? Sometimes. Sometimes.
Yeah.
Start being kind to this soul inside here. Don't beat this guy up here. He needs your support. There's enough harshness out here in the world. He doesn't need you beating him up. And if you're harsh on him, it's probably going to reinforce his harshness because you're hurting him.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Thank you.
Kind, self-care, loving kindness, empathy is what heals harshness, not more harshness. So be kind to yourself. If you're kind to yourself, it'll bleed out into your relationships. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, I think Hardik, you have something that you want to say, or somebody else? Is it time to go? I hear you. There you are. There you are. There you are.
Actually, I'm not very comfortable sharing my emotions, and I used to
Okay.
bottle up them. And since a year, when I want to cry, I just cannot cry. I feel that my eyes are always dry. So what can I do about it?
Well, this is a wonderful realization that you're having so young in your life. So thank you, first of all, for sharing your emotion publicly, your emotion that you suppress your emotions. That, yes, that's a big thing to share publicly, and you're not the only one who does that. You're speaking for a lot of other people who are sitting in the background saying, boy, I'm sure glad she asked that question, because I would never ask that question, because I don't want everybody to know that I suppress my emotions. But thank you for asking that question for yourself and everybody else. It's so important to name our feelings and needs. When we suppress our emotions, they don't go away. They don't go away. They get bottled up, and you know they come out somewhere on somebody. You know it. Now, the longer you do that, not only will it start affecting your body, it's going to start affecting your physical health. Now, men, and I'm so glad that there's so many men on this class, and that there are men asking questions, especially Kushagra. Thank you for asking questions. Men are taught to suppress their emotions when they're 2 or 3. Don't cry, don't be a baby. And sometimes girls are also taught to suppress and are dismissed when they have emotions. Don't be so emotional. Stop it. What's wrong with you? Just stop crying. Grow up. So when men suppress their emotions for decades, there's a lot of things that come out. Inner stress, heart attacks, ulcers. That's all suppressed emotions. So this is a warning to all of you young people. Learn to express your emotions, at least on paper, because it will take a toll on your entire life. And again, the body won't lie. So if you keep suppressing and denying your emotions, your body's going to say, it hurts so much. You know why? Because all those emotions are there that are screaming, pay attention. So now you specifically were talking about crying. Now, I noticed myself that I had difficulty crying, and that my eyes were always dry and I couldn't cry. Just, maybe 5 years ago. And I knew that I wanted to cry. So I picked out 3 or 4 movies that said, these will make you cry. And I watched 3 of them in a row. And I was crying. And I was like, oh my gosh, it feels so good to cry. That was one thing that I did. And, there's a lot of emotions that we want to express. Start using this card. You can watch some movies to make yourself and allow yourself to cry. Crying is, we're grieving all the sad things that happened in our life. We're grieving when we lost somebody, or we moved and we lost a friend, and there's so much sadness that we didn't get to express because there wasn't any time, or we didn't even find out, or it was just kind of like all of a sudden and nobody talked about it. So just start to get in touch with your sadness and allow yourself to cry. And after you cry, you're going to feel really happy that you cried. Like, it feels really good to cry and express that emotion. Now, there are probably other emotions besides that one. And again, start by looking at the card, writing them down, maybe sharing them with one friend. Now, all these friends in this class, you can get a feelings buddy, and once a day you can say, okay, what are you feeling today and what do you need? And you can just do an exchange, just a 5-minute text. What are you feeling and what do you need? And then you can start practicing with a person in your community here, because you all took this course, so you all know how now important it is. And so nobody's going to say, what are you talking about? They're going to know because they were in this class. So you can start there and just start expressing, even just one word. I'm feeling frustrated. I need peace, just like that. And it'll start to become a habit. And as it becomes a habit, just like walking, when we first learned to walk, we're shaky. After you practice more and more, you're going to be able to walk faster. You're not going to be able to have to hold on to the handrail when you go up steps. You're going to start to be able to run. So just start. Was that helpful?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. And you asked that question for like probably at least 3/4 of the class. So thank you for your courage. Thank you so much. Okay. I'm going to call on Gia, but then I want to see a few more men raise their hands. I want like 3 men to raise their hands. So first Gia and then a couple of men.
So
And
Mataji, some feelings or some emotions
you're
that
next. What's your name? You're next. But let me talk to Gia first, and then you're next, whoever you are on the NUTSS screen. So just wait, sit there, and then Gia can talk. Go ahead, Gia.
So, Mataji, some feelings or emotions that we feel are not as cute or simple. Like, oh, let me pick out the card and read and figure out. Some feelings are just so heavy, they hit you so hard and they consume all of you in like a second or a moment. And on
Yes.
top of that, if you are in the middle of some work and you have like a lot of studying to do, it comes up
Yes.
at that time and
Yes.
you are already so messed up in your head. So like there's
Okay.
no way you can deal with it right then.
Okay.
So what can we do in that moment?
I'm going to tell you, there was a study that was done that just naming the feeling and naming the need, just naming it, writing it down, 50% of that feeling will come down. Just naming it. And you can say it's not, one feeling. You can just write down 8 feelings. Yeah, all of that. You write it down. Okay. I see you. I see all of you. I've named all of you. You're there. You're on my paper. We'll talk after I finish studying, or something like that. Talk to those parts of you. Let them know that you're not going to ignore them. But I can't talk to you all at once, and I can't talk to you right now. But I'm going to write you all down, and I'm going to talk to you when I have a little more time. Does that make sense?
It makes sense. Thank you.
50% comes down
Mhm.
when you name them, even if there's 10 of them. Write them all down.
Mhm.
50%, that's a lot.
Yes.
That would give you at least a little bandwidth to say, okay, I see you. I know you're there. We're going to talk, just not right now. And they'll wait. But just for them to be named, it's like, oh, you saw me. Just like if, like I just named that other person. I see you. I'll talk to you. That person can be at peace because they know that I am. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
So,
It's a lot
okay,
helpful.
so
Thank you.
okay, thank you. So the person who was on the NUTSS screen, did you want to say something? I'm going to give you first chance.
Hare Krishna Mataji, my name is Nakshatra. I have a question that Mataji, sometimes what happens is that we make mistakes that end up hurting somebody who is very near and dear to us. So what is
Yes.
the method? What is a way to reconcile with them through conversation or through talking to them? Because sometimes that's the only method we have, and how can we reconcile with them in an easier way, I would say.
Okay, well, that's pretty much the only way that I know is to talk to them, and it's very confronting and hard. However, you know, you said sometimes we make a mistake. We make mistakes a lot. I've made so many mistakes, and I put all my mistakes in the books that I wrote. So we do make mistakes. So, you know, being vulnerable and going to that person and say, you know, I blew it. I really, you know, I got upset and I said things that I didn't mean to say, you know, or I just, you know, I blew my top on you, and that was not necessary. I'm so sorry. You mean a lot to me. You're my friend. I don't want to lose you. Please forgive me. That's it. And the sooner you do it, the easier it is. The longer you wait, oh my gosh, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, it gets worse. You feel worse and you feel bad and you feel guilty and you shame yourself, and then you beat yourself up, and how could you be so stupid, and why did you do that? And then that makes it so much harder. So it's just like if I spill my juice bottle, okay, if I spill it on the floor, I'm not going to deal with it. And then I forget to deal with it. And then I step all through the juice, and then I track it through the house, and then the dirt gets stuck on it. Now there's a lot more for me to deal with because I didn't just clean it up. So the sooner you clean it up, the easier it is to clean up, the quicker you'll feel better and they'll feel better. And that's, and if you get into the practice of doing that, just cleaning it up, cleaning it up, cleaning it up, cleaning it up, wow, you will be a superhero in the world, because most people don't clean up their messes. And I want to say that I just saw there's two things. One, I think it was a cricket player, and also a baseball player. And it turns out that they had like almost 50% of their hits were misses. And then the others were hits, but when they hit, they really hit it. So 50% were misses. So we will miss maybe 50% of the time. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's how we learn. Oh, yeah. Yeah, let me do that differently. So we're not a failure when we make a mistake. We just missed. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for your question. Okay, we got 2 more guys on the line here. Pranav, please, your question.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you very much.
Okay. There you are.
So my question is, sometimes I feel that I can't communicate what I want because I feel the other person might feel hurt by it. So I just then end up neglecting that or just saying that it's okay, it's not a big deal, and let it continue as it is. So,
And you stop.
yeah. So, how do you communicate something which you need, but which you feel is gonna be not appreciated or?
Yeah, those are called difficult conversations. So the main thing is learning how to express our feelings and needs in a way that doesn't make the other person wrong. Now, this is a trick, and if you learn this trick, oh my gosh, you will really go far in life. Like I said, this is the third time I'm going to say it. Three's a charm. 99.9% of people do not like to be made wrong, right? So if I say, you made me angry, I'm pointing the finger at you. So if I can point the finger at me and say, you know, when you didn't call yesterday and you said that you would, I felt really sad. I really wanted to connect and I really missed it. You know, if you're gonna not call me, could you just text me and tell me? And we can reschedule because I really value our relationship. So saying it in that way instead of like, you didn't call me, you said you were going to call. Come on, that bugs me when you do that. It feels energetically like, oh, I'm a bad person. Now, inside, I have to say, inside our programming, all of us have a pained persona, and we all feel kind of bad about ourselves deep inside. All of us, every single one of us. It's in my books. If you want to read them, there's 6 levels to the false ego, and the primary one is the pained persona, and we feel really bad about ourselves. So that's why it's easy to hurt other people. But if we say it, taking responsibility, like, I felt so sad because you didn't call and I wanted to talk to you, and you know, could you text me next time? I'm taking full responsibility that that's the way I felt, and this is what I needed, and I really value your connection. They're going to say, oh, okay, I'll text you next time, you know. But if I say, you know, you're just so lame, you know, you don't call, you tell me you're going to call, and I'm just exaggerating for effects, but you know, but then if you don't say it, the next time they do it, it builds up. And then by the time you do say it, oh my gosh, volcano. And then it really has the complete opposite effect of what you want it to say. Or you just won't say it at all, and you'll get sick in your stomach, and you might blow it out at somebody like your parents or somebody, or somebody that, you know. So you're feeling something right now. How are you feeling right now, Pranav? I'm sensing you're feeling something.
Um, so I think so yes, you answered, but what I meant was something like sometimes when we feel that we are responsible for something, or we feel that we are somebody depending on us, and we feel that person, we that dependence on us is sucking our energy. So
Okay, there you
we
go.
can't say no to them because then we feel hurt that we are not helping somebody. But also, yeah.
That's a big one. That's a whole different topic, but thank you for making it more clear, because I could see you were feeling something. Can we go over time a little bit? Is that okay? I hope so, because I want to go over time. So this is a very, very huge, important question. It's called boundaries. Okay. When I feel responsible for another person, especially you're young and you feel responsible for other people and other people's feelings and how they feel, that is going to be a huge burden on your life and on your existence. And it's going to control you, and it's going to run you, and it's going to hurt you. So, understanding the difference between me and another person and understanding what I can and can't do and learning to say no. Again, if you learn this when you're young, oh my gosh, you will have a completely different life. So I'll give you a definition of boundaries. Boundaries are the distance at which I can love you and love me at the same time. If I'm squeezing myself to do something, sacrificing my time, not taking care of myself to take care of you, that's a boundary issue because I'm not loving myself. So, and you won't get this all at once. It'll take a while, but start being aware. Am I loving myself in this situation? Am I choosing this out of love or obligation? Am I choosing this out of love or obligation? And the way I learned how to say no was, I hear that you need this and you'd like me to do this. And I understand this is important to you. And if I were Krishna or if I were God or whatever, I would love to do that for you and a bunch of other things too. But I'm not, and I'm just struggling to study for my exams that I have. And I need to focus there. And so I'm gonna have to say no. Or yeah, like I have too much on my plate right now. I'm gonna have to say no. And it's not that I don't care for you or love you. Now, if people start saying, oh, you don't care for me, oh, you're just being selfish, you gotta watch that, because if you're controlled by that, it's gonna become a habit in your life, and that guilt and shame that people throw on you, it's not gonna stop. Because when people see that if I just guilt them enough or yell at them enough, they're going to do what I want. Oh my gosh. Ooh, that's something off my plate. Here you go. I just yell and then you do it for me. Oh, wow, that works. I mean, and it's all unconscious. It's not that they really want to hurt you. And it's not that they, you know, they want to burden you, but they have a burden and they don't know what to do it. It's a hot potato and like, oh, I'm going to ask Pranav. He always says yes. And so then they throw it on Pranav and Pranav's like, okay, you know, and then, yeah. So learning boundaries, read books on boundaries, start looking at YouTube videos on boundaries, start studying about boundaries, start practicing boundaries. And when you can do this at this age, it will change your life. That was a very important question that you asked. Thank you for having the courage to ask that. Thank you for your vulnerability. And I can tell you probably at least 45%, I mean, not 45%, 75% of the rest of the people in this class also had that same question or issue. So thank you for asking that.
Thank you very much.
Beautiful. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay. Preeti Viram.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Mataji, my question is, how do you make other people aware of our feelings, Mataji?
How do we make other people aware of our feelings? We tell them in a way that doesn't make them feel that they're responsible for our feelings. You made me angry. Okay, I'm making them responsible for how I'm feeling. And people won't want to hear that, and then they'll fight back. So if we can say, yeah, I'm feeling a little frustrated right now. I don't know what to do, and I'm not sure how to handle this situation, but I'm not going to be able to, I hear you want me to do this, or I don't know that I'm going to be able to do this. It really means learning how to start expressing ourselves, taking responsibility. Using I words. I'm feeling a little frustrated right now because I don't know how I can do this and that. So every time we use the word I and we take responsibility for our own feelings and don't put it on another person, they're more likely to be able to hear that. But if I say, you're making me angry, you're really frustrating me. Has anybody ever said that to you? Wow, yeah, how does that feel? Ouch, 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 ouch. I'm feeling a bit frustrated right now when I see that you didn't pick up your dirty clothes on the floor again. I'm just feeling frustrated and I have a need for some cooperation. My dear son, could you please pick up your dirty clothes? I mean, if your mom asked you like that, would you be more willing to pick up your clothes than if she said, you're so blah, blah, blah. You're not helping me. You don't love me. I'm just making all this up, but it's the way we express our feelings, you know, and when we start practicing with other people that maybe in this class, you know, then we can start to learn how to express our feelings. But the longer we don't express them, by the third, fourth, or fifth time it comes up, the same thing that we didn't express. Now we've got 5 times as much energy and boom. So it's practice. How do we learn how to express our feelings? By practicing, by carrying around this card. If you can print out this card and put it in your pocket and carry it with you and look at it regularly. How do I feel? What do I need? How do I feel? What do I need? This is the operator manual for this machinery. This is going to help you. You're going to know where the option buttons are. You're going to be able to like manage this machinery and these emotions a lot better. And then you'll be able to express them more readily, more openly, and more compassionately to another person. Does that make sense?
Yes, Mataji. Thank you.
Yeah. Nobody can make us feel anything, but they can certainly trigger feelings in us. You know, if somebody punches us, that hurts. And they crossed a boundary. I can tell them, that hurt. Please give me some space without retaliating. But if we don't say anything and we keep allowing a person to punch us, as we grow up, we're going to start wanting to punch people because we never got to stop that. So, does that make sense?
Yes, Mataji.
I'm sorry I used that example. I don't know where that came from, but it just came, and I'm sorry I used that example. So I think there was maybe one more question, but I have to check in with the authorities here and Hardik if I'm allowed to talk anymore. 1 second here. Go ahead. So who are the authorities? There's the authority.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Haribo. I want to see your face, Hardik. Come pin yourself on my screen.
I'm gonna do this. Yes, I'll do this for myself.
Oh, yes, I'll do. Wait, okay.
There you go. There you go. Okay.
Yes, Mataji. I'm afraid we'll have to end it over here.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
And
I
it
didn't
was an
want to
amazing
go.
session.
I could spend hours and hours talking to all of you. It was such a pleasure to be with all of you. It was just a joy and a privilege for me to witness your courage, your authenticity, your sincerity. You know, thank you. Go ahead, Hardik.
We don't have as much as energy as you have, Mataji, despite the age gap. So we really can't spend so much of time hearing and listening. I myself was dozing off initially, but then I came back because I wanted to hear this. I was happy how everyone was asking questions, and I think the way people were able to uh, ask questions which they would have never asked. So that courage and strength, I think it came from you. It was because you were so receptive and you were so welcoming, as everyone was. Anyone who came up on the screen, how how enlivened you were to welcome them. That was what I think encouraged people to speak up their hearts, despite
Yeah.
seeing or meeting or hearing from you for the first time. So that was a great contact. And I think we can do more sessions on this, especially for people those who are interested, because I think we started off with around 40 plus kids and we are left with 19. So I don't think everyone is really interested. No,
Okay.
not everyone understands the value of this at this moment. They say need is essential, but we can do a selected with a group of people who are interested. We can do
Okay.
more condensed sessions,
Okay.
like a 2-3 session workshop or something with you in the
Yeah.
future.
Yeah.
I'll coordinate with you regarding this.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that
That
will
sounds
be
good.
more focused and that will be very helpful for all of
That
us.
sounds good. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
It was beautiful spending time with you. Yeah, let's do that again. And if they want to read some of the books, I think the simplest one to read would be the Compassion Revealing the Heart book.
Including the heart conference. Yes.
Yeah, learning to speak from our heart, and not letting our head interfere. That's helpful. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes,
What is
well,
the name
I've
of
been
the
acting
book? Can you repeat?
revealing the heart. I'll send across. I've been
Yeah.
acting as your unofficial ambassador over here. I'll continue to do this.
Thank you. Thank you. The thing is, when you can learn this at an early age when you're young, it can have huge impacts on your life that you would never know. But if you can get, these things early in life, I didn't get any of these things until I was like 47 or 48. And it's a lot harder to unlearn 30 years of stuff than it is to start practicing when you're young. So that's just my.
Yes, so we request your blessings for the same and your association. And when you come to India next, as I requested you before, also you spend 2-3 days here in Gurgaon, in Delhi. We'll arrange
I
for
have to
everything.
see what I'm gonna do. I'm even questioning if I'm gonna come again. So let's see.
We laid out our
All right.
intentions there before you, so rest is up to you. And Krishna.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, it was just a pleasure to be with all of you. I really enjoyed it thoroughly. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. See you next time. Haribo. 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 Should we turn it off? You're gonna turn it off?
Yes, we have a small announcement. Pranav, bro, you can make an announcement, then we'll end the class.
Should I just leave?
Totally up to you, Audrey.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna leave. Okay, Haribo.
Okay. So my screen is visible, right? Yeah. Okay. Hi, Krishna. So after people left, I wanted to inform that we are also running this course called Rediscovering Vedic India. It's an online and offline course. So we have completed the first 2 sessions. So we are left with session 3, which is specialty, what makes it special. So you can get the recordings for the first 2 sessions. And if you're curious to see the third one, then you can register on the link we'll provide. And it's both online and offline. So if you live in Gurgaon, then you can join offline in the NUTSS room, or you can also join on Zoom. So if you live in different cities or different countries. So yes, hope to see you there if you choose to join. And oh yes, we'll also share a feedback form with all of you on the group, and kindly fill that up. It will be great help, and let's just all stay connected. We'll have many more courses like this, and we'll have a lot of more things for you. So yeah, stay connected and stay with us for longer, and hope you learned something you enjoyed. And yes, today we completed 5 years of NUTS. So you can see in one of the screens, where is it? The NUTS screen, I'll spotlight. So here we have all the devotees. This is the NUTS room. And these are all the people who are connected with us for so long. So we finished 5 years of our program, of our community. And we have got for celebrations, यहाँ पर. And hope you can join this team. Hope you can also be part of this NUTS family. And yeah, so we do a lot of exertions, we do a lot of stuff. It's a very dynamic, very youthful group. So yes, as you saw in our videos also. All right. Thank you so much for joining in this summer course, and see you soon. Hi, Krishna.